Hello everyone! In this video, we focus on helping new teachers to teach academic IELTS to international students. We will include a scene about an IELTS speaking test at the beginning, and an expert teacher will explain what's the problem of this candidate and the myths about IELTS exam. And then an examiner will briefly introduce what IELTS is. Finally, we have 10 general principles for teaching IELTS effectively. Now, let's watch a problematic test scene.
Come in. Hello. Sit down, please. Hello, I am Daniel. I will be your examiner for the speaking section. What is your name?
My name is Ursula.
Okay, Ursula, nice to meet you. Now we will begin the speaking section of the IELTS exam. Are you ready?
Ready?
Good. For part 1, I will ask you some questions on a general topic. Let's talk about friends. Do you prefer to have one particular friend or a group of friends?
Particular? Sorry, what is particular?
By particular, I mean, do you have one specific friend?
Specific?
Or one best friend, a friend with whom you like to spend the most time. Or do you prefer having a group of friends?
Okay, sorry. I like friends. Friends in like Monica and Julie. And Chandler is the most funnest of friends.
Chandler, Joey. Oh, you mean friends. Never mind. Let's move on. What do you like to do on weekends?
Usually, shopping with friends, watching together movie, going to dancing.
Your friends as in Joey and Chandler, or?
No, friends. I have friends. Like my friends Billy, Dania, Steven, friends.
Okay, let's move on.
Oh, time to check out my results. Okay, my results, my test report. Oh, reading 7, writing 7, listening 7. What? Speaking 5?
Ursula got 5 in her speaking test, which is insufficient to meet the English language requirements for the university she wishes to attend. How could this have happened, despite her better performance in the other 3 sections? One problem is that she seemed to be too nervous and polite during the test. This likely contributed to her misunderstanding of the questions she was asked. Another problem was her poor fluency and pronunciation. This could be the result of a lack of practice in speaking compared with her preparation for the other sections. Perhaps she placed too much importance on academic reading and writing, since they are often considered to be more important for academic applications. There are some other misconceptions among test takers. For example, I struggle with vocabulary and grammar. I cannot succeed in writing. That's not always true. For the writing test, writing structure, clarity of position, progression of arguments, and strong supporting ideas are the essential points you need to achieve Band 7 or above. I'm confident in my reading ability. I don't even need to prepare. When we refer to our reading ability, we are usually talking about our global reading comprehension. However, taking the reading test in IELTS also requires local reading comprehension. This requires the test taker to pay attention to the details of the reading materials, using bottom-up processing. Well, all I need is testing strategies. I'll be fine. Right? Nope. It is important to keep in mind that you need a basic amount of vocabulary and grammar to support your IELTS learning. Strategies are meant to support your existing language skills. Think of testing strategies as boosters to help you gain one band or one level rather than all-encompassing solutions to raise you from beginner to intermediate or even expert level. After taking IELTS, one question comes to Ursula's mind. Let's ask the examiner Daniel about it.
What is IELTS?
IELTS is one of the most common English language standardized tests. Like TOEFL, the SAT, or the GRE, it is considered to be a high-stakes test as it is accepted as evidence of language proficiency for those wishing to be admitted to academic programs or to start employment in countries where English is the language of communication. It is also increasingly relied upon by immigration authorities in Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom when processing visa and citizenship applications. The majority of candidates are between 16 and 25 years of age and have a high school or a post-secondary education background. Common countries of origin among candidates include China, Mexico, Brazil, Taiwan, Russia, India, Korea, and Japan. The test is held in centers around the world on approximately 48 dates throughout the year. Over 3 million people took the test in 2017.
To teach IELTS, there are 10 general principles you need to keep in mind. First, the teacher's role in test-oriented preparation is more like that of a coach instead of a facilitator. This principle may sound outdated in an area of communicative English language teaching, but is necessary for setting certain goals and meeting deadlines. Although creativity should be encouraged in most teaching contexts, test preparation is a unique situation and requires targeted instruction, discipline, and adherence to the rules of the test in question.
How do we know what is needed to perform well in IELTS? As an IELTS teacher, it is important to carefully study the exam in order to manage students' expectations of what they will encounter on test day and how to cope with the challenges.
As with other high-stakes tests, actual test samples and the test databases are the best friends of the test takers and teachers. Exposure to the extra tests will reduce the likelihood that the student will be taken by surprise during the real examination. Advise the students to pay more attention to the quality rather than the quantity of his or her language production when practicing on the actual tests. This will be valuable to the student during a real exam because it will translate into an ability to answer questions effectively and naturally rather than by memorization.
Teaching skill-specific strategies is a key principle. Language skills cannot be trained in a short period of time, but testing skills can. Therefore, the goal of test-oriented teaching is not long-term language skills development, rather it is short-term testing skills development.
Use differentiated instructions. Tailoring instruction for each test taker is not done according to their language ability. As IELTS instructors, we should realize the differences in their cognitive abilities, in the strategies that work best for them, in their abilities to recognize and to use analogies or logical inferences, and in their capacity to focus and to perform under pressure.
Both bottom-up and top-down techniques should be involved in teaching. Bottom-up techniques are useful to break language into component parts and to help the student focus on the bits and pieces of language. On the other hand, top-down techniques are useful for global understanding and the interpretation of a text. It is important for students to practice from both directions because the IELTS test operates from both directions as well.
Formative and summative assessments should be involved in the learning process. Formative assessments are used when instruction is in progress to keep track of students' learning. Summative assessments are used at the completion of the course in order to determine whether the student is ready to take the exam and achieve the ideal score. In this case, the best example of the summative assessment can be to conduct a real-time simulation of an IELTS test.
Using motivating and stimulating techniques to appeal to learners' abilities, needs, personal interests, and goals is always a golden rule. No matter how boring or difficult the test preparation may be for a student, make it fun.
Teach appropriate test-taking conduct. Try to answer every question without exception. When in doubt, guessing at an answer in the multiple-choice section is preferable to leaving the answer blank. Time management is also essential for high-stakes timed exams. Few students could finish each part without focus and special training. Do not hesitate. Just make quick decisions for each answer. What's more, do not be overpolite when taking the speaking part, as we are all equal human beings.
Finally, Encourage students to make an inquiry or to take the test again if they fail. Candidates can make an inquiry about their test results if they believe they can get a higher score or that they need an extra 0.5 in order to pass in open-ended parts such as speaking or writing. 9 out of 10 students do this and usually succeed in upgrading their test scores. It is very common for candidates to fail their first IELTS examination. This could be because they are not well prepared, they are not versed in the rules, or it could simply be nerves and anxiety getting the better of them on test day. It is a high-stakes test after all.
Overall, know IELTS inside and out. Know the strategies, teach the strategies, and implement the strategies. For more information about IELTS teaching, please refer to our handbook. Thank you for watching.